Hi Bookends! Welcome to a 10-minute book review. I'm 10. Today's book review is going to be on a lot of glare, but Scorn of Secrets by B. Truly. So starting every review off, we like to start off with a star point, as in out of 10 stars, how many stars this particular book garner, and a rating, as in if this is a movie or a TV show, what would we rate it? So star points, this is a 7 out of 10 stars. It was a really good read. I believe this is the author's first book. Rating, this is a PG-13. There is some sex mentioned, but it's not truly explicit. There's also some drug use, well, some alcohol use, but once again, it's not explicit. It's just talked, like someone drank something. So I wouldn't say that it would go to the level of an R. Let's put it like that. So, jumping right on in. This book stars Madison. She is a teenager with not an absentee mom. Her mom is there, but her mom is kind of more so concerned about herself. Not in a selfish way, just more so concerned about herself. She has a sister named Tanya, and she also has a father who is not home a lot. And the excuse her mother gives is that he's not home a lot because he is working overtime, working a lot. But then when she overhears her mother talking to her grandmother's like, "Bro, you gotta pay me. Like, I don't know what this Negro doing, but you need to pay me." And her mother is like, "Well, we're falling on hard times or whatever." And Madison's like, "Huh? How could we not have the money? How are we owing money to Grandma or Gigi, because I think they call her Gigi, when my dad is doing all this overtime? Like, this doesn't make sense. Shouldn't we have extra money?" When she tells her cousin this, her cousin is like, "Okay, well, maybe it has something to do with property tax, because apparently they live in houses, so apparently she's thinking it has something to do with property tax." It's no spoiler to say that her father is a gambler. There is one instance in the book where she's like at this book club, like yearbook club meeting, and her dad says he'll pick her up, and when he picks her up, he's like speeding and he smells like alcohol, and he gets a phone call from somebody saying like, "You need to do blah 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 now." And so he drives her and himself to this swanky part of town with these townhouses. Now, swanky is relative. I don't know if it's actually swanky or if it's just better than where she was. Let me just put it like that, because you don't really usually find townhouses in swanky places. So, well, I can't say that, but usually you don't. So, yeah, he tells her, "Stay in the car. I'll be back." And he goes into one of the townhouses. Now, here's where the disconnect comes, because I got mad at her. I got mad at Madison at this. I don't know if anybody who's watching this has grown up in the hood. I don't know if you know about hood life or what have you. If your dad says stay in the car, I got some business to attend to, you stay behind in the car because he got some business to attend to. You do not get out the car. I don't care how much time passed. You stay in that car. So I think about 30 minutes passes and she's like nervous about her dad and stuff like that. So she gets out the car. And she ends up going into the townhouse and sees the faces of the people who are basically telling her dad, "Bro, you need to pay up or we're gonna kill you." They don't exactly say kill you, but you're gonna face the consequences. So, and she makes a noise or something. Everybody looks around and sees her like, great. Now they know what his kid looks like. So yeah, she should have stayed behind in the car. I don't know why she got out the car. Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't think that they lived in the hood. I think they probably lived maybe in the nice part of the hood, and she never learned that lesson. Like, you stay behind in the car. If someone says stay in the car, you stay there. You do not get out and go into the house. You don't go into the crack house. You don't go into the gambling house. You stay in the house. Like, you stay in the car. You don't get out. But yeah, that happens. And then later on, her mom and her sister are going shopping, and when they get back, like, grocery shopping, not like fancy shopping. And when they get back, they find out that their house has been robbed, and I won't say that a lot has been taken, but the things that might be of value have been taken, like televisions and jewelry. Now, here's the thing that kind of throws me for a loop. They said a 60-inch television was taken. They live in a residential area, so you're gonna tell me that nobody in that area saw someone break in and carry out a 60-inch television in broad daylight? Nobody. Like, everybody was gone. Nobody saw it. Like, nobody saw, I don't know. That part I just found weird. Like, nobody, or it might just be hood rules, nobody says anything. I don't know which one it is. If it's hood rules, nobody says anything, or if it's literally nobody saw anything. I don't know. But they're like, Tanya and Madison are like, call the police, because, you know, we've just been robbed. Mom, call the police. The mother is the one who's really thinking, and I get it, because the other ones are like teenagers, so I get it. She's the one who's really thinking. She's like, no, because whoever did this. So first of all, Madison tells her mom that, oh yeah, by the way, I saw some guys and they were telling Dad you need to pay and stuff. And her mother's like, why didn't you tell me this earlier? She's like, I don't know, Dad told me not to. I was like, okay. Your father also don't pay no bills, but okay, alright, alright. So she's like, we can't call the police because the people who have done this or sent someone to do this have already seen Madison's face, which means if we call the police, your sister will be in danger. So skipping ahead a bit, because, you know, it's kind of a contemporary book, and it's basically a day in the life of, a month in the life of, a year in the life of someone, and that someone is Madison. So skipping ahead a bit, her parents are no longer together, and her mom hooks up with, I think the guy's name is Reagan, and they end up moving in together, and this guy is like loaded. And I don't know if it's up here low, like I don't know if it's East Coast loaded, because if it's East Coast loaded, then he loaded. If it's down south loaded, then he just living good. So there's a difference between living good and loaded. I think it's down south loaded, so he probably just living good. And he has this big house, and so, you know, Tanya and Madison, they get their rooms and stuff like that. And he also has twin sons living there already with him. Now, in the beginning, I felt like it was a bit odd for her mother to move on so quickly from a 15-year marriage. And she was obviously with the girl's father longer than 15 years because she has an older sister, and Madison's about 15. So they've been together longer than 15 years, and yet, I'd venture to say maybe 16 or 17, because the other girl's in high school too, I believe. So somewhere between 20 and 17 years these people have been together in total, and for her to move on so quickly. But then I had to think about it. She had her kids to protect, you know, like she had her daughters to protect. And so if protecting her daughters means getting with a dude that has a big enough house and a big enough wallet to be able to support them, then that's what she would have to do. So I do understand that. It may not have been the most comfortable thing on her part, but it was what she had to do to make things work. Madison is shy. I've never understood shy people. If you're shy and you're watching this, how do shy people, like, procreate? Like, how do y'all work that out? How do you find, like, boyfriends, girlfriends, any kind of friends? How do you find partners? I never understood shy people. It's like, if you're like super shy, how do you fall in love and find people and not die alone? I don't understand. Anyway, I don't know. My husband was shy too, but he was like, you know, nobody wants to die alone. So I saw you, I liked you, and I shot my shot, and apparently it went in because you went with me. So, you know, so I guess that's how it works for shy people. But I've never understood the science behind shy people. I am an extrovert. I will talk to anyone about anything because I like to talk. So, yeah, that's just who I am. But I never understood how shy people navigated life, how they made friends. I don't know. Actually, 2 is shy too, but you can't really tell it. But anyway, so yeah, Madison is shy, so she starts her new school, and like her sister is outgoing and making friends and everything, and Madison really isn't. But she's making an effort. She is making an effort. And then Justin and Jackson are the twins. I forget who's older, but it gets kind of weird because Jackson likes Madison first, but Madison wants to date Justin. And in my mind, like, none of this should happen. None of it. Like, with all the human beings on Earth, you can't find somebody who hasn't visited your mother's vagina. Anyway, I don't know. Yeah, so I would think that it would be better to find someone who is not the child of the man who is currently sharing a bed with my mom. But I guess they do things differently down there. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess legally it's not bad. Morally, I would feel a kind of way, because what would happen if you had kids by that person, right? What would happen if you had kids by your step sibling? Like, now this is your step niece or nephew and your kid? And you both have the same, they have the same set of grandparents. I don't get it. I personally would not, I wouldn't float on that boat. I'll say it like that. I would not float in that boat. I would not get in the sea of that. I wouldn't touch it. But, yeah. She decides that's the sea that she wants to sink in. She wants to swim in that ocean. So, there is a rape that takes place. I don't know if there needs to be a trigger warning for that, but there is like a rape that takes place, but it's not by force, it's by subterfuge, if that makes any sense. I don't want to give too much away in the book, but something happens with Madison, and it's not that someone forces themselves on her. They make her believe that there's someone that they aren't, and because she believes that there's someone that they aren't, she willingly has sex with them because she believes that there's someone else. And so that leaves her feeling violated, which by all rights, it should leave her feeling violated. But I don't think she knows what to do with that violation because it wasn't a rape by force. So mentally speaking, it's kind of hard in those type of situations where, like, you mentally speaking, it's like if you're not saying no, then it's kind of like, okay, was I with it? And if you were with it, but it was under false pretenses, it's like, can you really go back and tell anybody that, oh, this happened to me and I didn't want it to, when you wanted it to happen at the time, but not with that person? So I can see where she's having a hard time, because how do you report it? You know, like, how would she report it? Would she say, she can't say someone forced themselves on her. And she also can't say that she was unwilling to have sex, but she can say she was unwilling to have sex with that particular person, but she didn't know that they weren't the person that she was willing to have sex with. It's such, pardon me, it's such a slippery slope, and I'm happy that the author brought that up, because there are a lot of young women who find themselves in those type of positions where they are willing to engage in sexual activity, but the sexual activity takes a turn in a way that they weren't willing to engage in, or they're willing to engage in sexual activity with someone that they believe to be one way, and it turns out that they're another way. And so now they're left with feeling, is this what I wanted? Did I want this to happen? And if I did want it to happen, is it okay that I don't feel okay with it happening? And then how to report something like that, or to report it at all, and then what to say. I felt bad for Madison in regards to that, because it's like, yeah, what does one say when they go through something like that? Because the first question is going to be, okay, which it shouldn't be, but it always is, what did you do? Did you try to fight back? Did you try to do this? And if you say, no, I didn't try to fight back because I thought this was that, like, okay, well, then you weren't raped because you didn't fight back. Even though one can be raped by subterfuge. Like, if I think someone is A and they're really B, not like if I think someone is a lawyer and they turn out to be a bus driver. But if I think someone is Jerry and it turns out to be Tom, I never agreed to have sex with Tom. I wanted to have sex with Jerry. But I consented to having sex because I thought that Tom was Jerry. It's just, it's I felt bad for her because she was young, and that is a difficult thing even for an adult to put into words and to articulate to someone to report, let alone for a teenager who has not seen enough of the world to have the words to articulate what exactly happened to them and whether or not they wanted that experience and it went south, or whether or not they ever wanted that experience at all. So I'm not going to give away any spoilers for the book, of course, because since it's a contemporary, it's, like I said, it's in a day in the life of, and so if I give away too many things that happen in her life, then I've already given away the book. She does have some secrets in regards to what happened with her dad that she feels compelled not to disclose, but it ends up kind of coming back out anyway. And I feel like, I think it was the purpose of the book, people not to have conversations, because if people had more conversations, it would have been a shorter book and less drama. And I'm getting a phone call. Please hold that thought. My mom just wanted to know if I was okay. So, yeah, some things end up happening with her, and I will say that the book has a happy ending, but that really depends on what you see a happy ending as being. I can really see this as being like a movie on Freeform, because the things that happen are things that I won't say all teenagers go through, because not all teenagers are going to parties and stuff like that. But I can say that it is something that would be easily replicated on television, like the scenes in it, even the rape scene, because it's not an explicit rape scene, because it's not explicit force. It's something that could be easily replicated on television in a way that would keep it PG-13, but the character could still reflect on later and feel gross about, because it was done in a way that they weren't interested in participating in. So yeah, overall is a good book. I believe this is the author's first offering. I could be wrong, but I'm going to put their information up, of course, like I always do. And we look forward to seeing more from them. This has been a 10-minute book review. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe. Bye, Bookends.